On.
Okay. So the things I like more is to come back to Turin, actually. So the things I love more than everything else is come back to Turin. But we have to go away and come back. That's right. So. Well, Matteo Barale, where you come from? Where have you lived?
I come from Caru, Cuneo, so we have a lot of people from Cuneo here, so it's a Cuneo type week we can do next time. And I lived abroad some years in China, in Guizhou province in Guiyang, and where I started my own company about autonomous driving. And I met Alessandro here in Italy, but we met again in San Francisco during my time there. And we spent some years there together, really nice.
Thank you. So, Alessandro, no, not Alessandro, but only Ale, right?
Oh yeah, I think it's much easier for everybody to just say.
Ale.
I'm Ale, originally from Pistoia, so in Tuscany. Spent the last decade abroad between the UK, Ireland, Sweden, and the US. So then I'm back. So again, the feeling of being back in Torino. So this is amazing to be here tonight, and for sure just meet all of you. So this is quite an event for sure.
Thank you. So, we are here to the most important. Yeah, and
I'm Dave. I come from Turin. A little bit further than him. It's Camaretto, so just
okay.
it's 200 meters in.
Just 100 meters.
It's not that far. Anyway, I born and raised here in Turin, so I spent a big portion of my life here. Then, after a long period in Fiat at that time, so almost 6 years, I started to travel Europe, thanks to the Volkswagen Group in Ital Design, visiting many places in Germany. And then I moved to UK, working for Land Rover, then come back in Germany again for NIO, where I spent 1/3 of my life per year in China. And then I come back as you with pleasure in Turin for following my dream to work for Pininfarina, which is my real dream. That is, I'm trying to accomplish many things, but already be part of that story for me is already enough.
Yeah.
So this was the reason why I came back with a smile on the face.
Yeah. Absolutely. This is something. Maybe I will go back following the opposite line. Yeah, we keep going. So I will ask you if you teach somewhere in the university, or if you have some lectures or some students somewhere, and please from which company you are working now.
So I'm currently Chief Design Officer for Automobili Pininfarina, and I'm leading the spin-off part of Pininfarina that is producing engineering design car by himself. So we became, for the first time in the history for Pininfarina, car maker for ourselves. And we produce Battista and B95 as a second product, and Pura Vision as our future representation of the future luxury. And now in Automobili Pininfarina we try to make the second step. And like many designers here, I study here in Turin at the Istituto Europeo di Design, together with, we were classmates, and actually he was really much better than me. So I was lucky to be part of a good, let's say, group of people, really passionate. A lot of them became relevant people in the design industry, like me. And I had the opportunity in the early phases of my career to teach more as an executor, so not philosophy because I didn't know nothing, but practical things like digital sketching, hand sketching, or maybe approach of fast modeling together and match with the realization of a sketch. So I teach both in the Istituto Europeo di Design, but also in the IAAD, and actually I get longer relationship with IAAD, which I found many of my classmates. But also when I was working in Ital Design, Walter Silva requested me to do a master course at the Politecnico, specifically requested by him. So for 1 year, and this is, I felt a little bit honored there was a car that picked me up in Italy design, bring me to the university and then drive me back. So this was my
an incredible
small career as a
experience. Thank you. Ale, what about you? What are you working at now, and what's your experience as a teacher?
Let's say right now I'm at Granstudio, which is a transdisciplinary design studio here in Torino and Belgium. And I think I'm the chief experience officer there, so leading the UX part. Right now, like I'm teaching at IAAD, so the thing is just connected, and in Sweden. I think it's just at Umeå Institute of Design. That part is a lot about bringing creative oxygen to students and also professionals. So that part is just how do we bring a different level of energies in the room or like in meetings, for example, and how do we bring those new methods and approaches? And I think it's part of also the talk tonight. In that sense, it's just how do we not only inspire each other, but just inspire like a larger vision for society, in this case on a urban level, for example, when we think about autonomous mobility, but also what it means, what are the unintended consequences of that. So, that's all.
Thank you. Matteo, Barale.
I'm Matteo Barale, and I'm a Chief Innovation Officer at Tecnocad. And with Matteo we have also our, I can say, DC firm, Italian Tech Partners. And what I've done in the past? In the past 10 years I always work in deep technologies or IP technologies, like autonomous driving, generative design. Almost 10 years ago in Autodesk, was large-scale 3D printing. So I work in not many startups, but in many startup ideas. That is also the topic of this evening. So many fast-growing topics and no slow or by way strategic topics. And in terms of give back, because I always work on also on this topic, I've done many lectures around the world, like Stanford, Singapore University, Politecnico, Politecnico in Switzerland, Umeå with Barale, to teach to a young generation to don't be afraid about the future, but to have an optimistic vision of the future, also to look at the automotive and mobility, where we come from, with another point of view. But it's really difficult nowadays because we talk about crisis for the last 10 years in our field, and it is always a crisis. And but the young generation may need really to see a bright future, and I work a lot in a university to give this back.
Thank you so much. Your time.
Well, I'm Dario, Olivero. I was born in Cuneo province, like Matteo. We are pretty proud of our province. Well, Matteo forgot to say that he's teaching at IAAD as well.
Yeah, we forget it.
No, well, I'm a car designer. I studied together with Dave. It's an honor being here next to you, having you here. I'm getting emotional because actually it meant a lot to me, because all of them actually I have opportunity to work with at IAAD. IAAD is Istituto Arte Applicata and Design. It's a private university here in Turin, and since 4 years I'm a director of transportation department. And of course we have a master course in mobility design, master in design mobility solutions, and due to these opportunities I'm working with them. And before starting a career as a teacher and then as the director of the department, I'm a car designer, and at a very young age, I was 25, I decided to open up my studio. It's called Doro Design. It was established here, it's still here, but always the vision has been working for a company from abroad. The beginning was mainly China, because it was booming, it's still booming, and this opportunity gave me the way in opening up the business of my studio. So today, yes, I'm a car designer, but there is a large scale of, projects that it's literally from autonomous driving, restaurant that is completely opposite, so classic cars, and in between home appliances, electronic goods, and also strategic consultancy. So it's pretty wide what I do.
Thank you. So we have teachers, university standard level, and also professionals that is working on the field, right? I mean, you are changing the patch of the innovation or the state of art of the industry of design, but not only, let's say, we will arrive to. And well, I present myself also. My name is Matteo Basei Fantolino, I came from Turin, and I'm not a designer. I'm proud to be a perito meccanico, a mechanical engineer at high school, let's say. But then I will jump a little bit because I have had a transversal career at university. The last experience bring me to a master in comparative law, economic and finance, where I studied slow food as a movement all around the world and how to connect the slow approach, the slow philosophy and the slow finance maybe. So find a way to decline the good, clean and fair values for everyone, forever, to venture capital, to finance. Is that possible for you, or is it completely impossible? Raise your hand. Possible? No. And? Okay.
Very difficult.
Well.
Potentially difficult to say, not possible.
Okay.
In general, in general.
Very good, very good.
Sometimes you have to say very difficult.
Yes, sure. And I met Matteo Barale in Detroit, where we were in Comau at the Project People Management Summer School. And let's say we grow our friendship talking about innovation, talking about projects applied in the company and on the field, but not only tech. We talk about also social impact, we talk about also inclusion, we talk about which kind of future we would like to be part of. Well, in my experience, I am very happy to teach adaptive leadership from the Adriano Olivetti Leadership Institute. Somebody of you knows who has been Adriano Olivetti. Maybe the people from Turin, yes, but maybe the people abroad, not. So I would like to spend just one word, not on me, not on what I'm doing, but about Adriano Olivetti, because I think here we are trying to do something tonight. We are trying to present an idea that can be a shape, like completely change the architecture of what we are living at as a development of technology. So Adriano Olivetti has been a very, very famous Italian entrepreneur, lived from 1901 to 1960, and he has been very famous for the application of the specific type of design that is a systemic design, right? So please, what is systemic design for you?
I really don't know. So to me, I don't know. I don't know really how to define systemic design.
Okay. That's good, because if somebody of you don't know, don't be afraid. That's good.
I really don't know how to define it. So.
Okay.
I think everybody in the room, I think, experienced the lack of systemic thinking. Okay, so the thing is just what you mentioned about Olivetti is just designing. I think we can talk like this. Test. Okay. The thing is just what we experienced from Olivetti, what you mentioned as a factory. So it was thinking a factory from like the holistic thinking. So looking at the factory, then went right later on in the invention, you wrote the microprocessor, like we see later on in technology, and you can see that in Ivrea, here in Piedmont. But I think it's just what is an approach that really takes into consideration all parts of the process. And that is normally something, and this is highly connected to tonight, so thank you, Matteo, for mentioning this. Because when we think about the urban lens, we need to see look at the city from a systemic point of view. Another famous architect, for example, Le Corbusier, okay, the French architect. In this case, he was looking at this from the city from a top view perspective. And it sounds obvious to say, but it's not at all when most of the architects actually think from the building itself. And that happens a lot also in car design. The thing is, we think about the single vehicle, but we don't think about when we look outside the street, how they actually part of a larger system. Okay? So what we experience, maybe to answer to your question, is just a lack of systemic thinking, problems connected with that.
Before to go to Barale, I jumped to a double question, like, what have you done in Pix Moving, like thinking, rethinking the city, the Pix city and the moving space? And what have in common with the systemic design, this kind of research and development, please?
We didn't say that Ale is an insider of Arduino, so you know really well the topic Olivetti.
Anybody know who is, what is Arduino? Just 2-3 of us, so please. Even after.
Arduino is an electronic board that allows everybody to access technology, so prototype from a physical perspective. So we want to put, for example, a temperature sensor here and program it. So that's what it allows us to do. It was born in 2006 from Olivero, and then a few MIT professors, Massimo Banzi and other founders, they developed together these electronic boards. So check it out.
And also the topic that Ale touched was about the city. So the city is really related to the title of this small talk, fast and slow. Because when we look outside the window, we see the cars that they are that fast factor of our systems. So things that are moving really fast, but they are changing maybe in years. Okay. But when we look at the city, their approach is a slow approach. Because it's a strategic approach, but it can be 10 years, 50 years, 100 years. So it's really a long-term approach that we totally forget nowadays. And in IAAD, I teach my course is about mobility system and yoga planning, I think, yes. And we talk about these two factors. Things that we almost forget in Europe, but there are places in the world that they are really still thinking in this way. For example, if you go to Saudi or Egypt, in Saudi they have this city called NEOM, that is Saudi 2030, but it will be 2050 vision. So they are rethinking all the country, okay, in a super long-term project, and they are picking startups. For example, they pick Volocopter or other autonomous driving companies from the world, and so they pick really fast changers. Okay, so the slow factors that they are picking the fast factors. Same thing in Egypt. There is the new capital city that is Cairo, the new Cairo, but I think they are opening this. I think this year they are opening soon. So in Middle East is happening, and I think we need to rethink again in this way. And I think after the cathedral time, so if you think the last project that we have done as a community, because a slow project is a community project, is Sagrada Familia in Barcelona, okay, and is still in development process, okay. But for us, it's not something that is not finished, but is growing, okay. And think about the city as an organism, or by the way, the system that we are living as an organism that is living of the two sides of a life. Something that is happening fast, so is an event, and something that is really low, that is like climate. Okay.
Thank you, Matteo. Yes, and thank you because you bring us from the systemic design to the thinking fast and slow connection. So we will correlate these two approaches, and I will ask you freely think about something about Adriano Olivetti and the systemic design, and maybe the UNESCO heritage of Ivrea. Why they give the UNESCO heritage to the city?
You know, something that I remember when I was at the elementary school, that in Italian, in English means from first grade to fifth grade. I read about Olivetti that was, yes, focused on the manufacturing amazing products, but the aspect that I loved the most was getting back from the 18th century the idea of family stereo, so bringing the family in the company but giving them a very good life and access to services like kindergarten, healthcare, and this was the first time in my life that I was reading something that had a huge impact. And because Olivetti, of course, it comes to me in my mind the Valentina typewriter, the one that it's in super flashy colors. You can walk with it around, you can go to the park and typing. But actually this aspect that is more about the human and the entrepreneur make me feel till today the goosebumps, because you know, if you switch on the television, when I was much younger, today if you check on the social media, it's all about making money, having a fast result, and not creating a culture. So to me, Olivetti, Adriano, it's amazing product, made in Italy in the world, but it's this human side of the human being that really wanted to improve the quality of life of people, not only the consumers or the, how to say, the users, but of his employee and the family. To me, till today, and I'm in my 40s, it's something that I don't see that much, at least in Europe, in implementing this holistic approach in the company. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. And what may I add on that? Maybe the fact that the company, the corporate for the Olivetti vision, was an instrument, was a tool, so to bring people to a better quality of life, to participate, to contribute for real create a better product, a better systemic design, and repeat the loop and increase and increase and increase, and give social benefits, give the kindergartens, give what the people, the human part, the human fast, or the human need to connection need, and they are still maybe 100 years ago an example that we cannot see anywhere still, maybe in the world. So this is something that inspires us in our thought. And reading this book, Thinking Slow and Fast, we embrace the opportunity to don't fight against one side or the others, because unfortunately the world is divided from part. You are from that side or against my side. You are, and so on. Instead, we believe that Torino has a lot to say, a lot to give example, and can inspire other cities, all Europe, maybe all the world, to connect, combine, and melt the slow approach and the fast, clean and fast approach. So maybe I was not so kind with you before for the question.
No, I get it.
Sure.
I get it later what you meant for systemic design. So I don't define with this terminology what I do, but let's say that Dario knows really well that the scope of being a designer is not just meant to be, you know, an artist that define a glass or a bottle, but understanding where the glass has to be in terms of an environment, who is the user, and maybe what is the emotion behind the usage of this simple object. So the problem is that I'm the radical one, I have to say the two all of the time. The society and the politics define everything that we are saying today. And as an Italian guy and from Turin, Dario knows really well that in my heart, I really love that Turin become great again. The Piemontese and also the Made in Italy. Guys, Turin was the polo of innovation in any sense. And we got brilliant mind. But if the politics in general, from council to the Italian government doesn't push anymore for innovation, we got in the past Olivetti, but also Fiat, Pininfarina, all the carrozzeria, but also the, I forgot the name now of Fiat, where they make a lot of patents. GRF. When they closed that, I was dying inside. Because we have the best Politecnico school here, but there is no application and evident feeling of fast and slow. We don't even get closer to become, to choose fast and slow. And then when we come back as my initial speech, as a designer, you are forced to react. And nobody has been asked anymore like, tell me what you want to do for the future. And then as a young artist, maybe you have 20-30% of your brain that's still as a kid, because this is the difference between a person that is able to dream and then think that everything is possible, and then you become an adult super early, or you cannot do that. Or you have to pass through politics. And then all the bullshit, and then what you do? You take this class. Oh, let's put an Italian flag this. Now it's Italian, there is a firm, that's it. If marketing works, there is a proposition, everything's run with the flow. But everything that starts in this room, it's really interesting. The problem is that who is listening to us? Who allow us to be enabler of a movement, a cultural movement that say, fuck off, now it's time to do the right things. Programming.
Yep.
Programmation. I mean, we have to say that it's difficult today, almost impossible. In 5 years, it's only difficult. And then in 15 years, it's almost difficult. And then becomes achievable, easy to achieve, we are fucking dead. This is the reality. The problem is that it's not on me, on them. Not maybe they can, I cannot. But the problem is that, honestly speaking, this is also, we recently got a visit from a student, and I didn't speak about normal design, like the line. This is, you can go on internet, there is YouTuber that is better than me, they've never been designer, because they repeat something that they can read. But what they cannot understand is the culture behind. It's like, what is the purpose of a designer? What is the purpose of an engineer? What is the purpose? Nobody is doing anymore his job. He's reacting over needs, raising stock option, don't piss off the boss, whatever it is. But before, it was not like this. Olivero was having a dream. And he was saying like, I have to share maybe my vision because I can with anybody else. If everybody have a decent life, they will be more able to say like, well, I'm not living in Turin. I'm part of Turin. So I don't throw a chewing gum on the streets. I don't let the dog shitting on, you know, this is the responsibility we lost. Why? We don't have the hope anymore. The government doesn't listen to us. And CXO, they even know the good engineer designer they have. Oh, stock option -3. Oh, it's bad. Let's ask McKinsey to give us number. They come with number of 10 years ago and prevision of something that is not real, talking to the customer. And I can say that because I'm talking to the customer. Luckily, I'm in the hyper luxury. Hyper luxury means there is 10,000 people in the world. I talk with 75% of them. And most of the time, their answer is not matching with any protocol, investment, algorithm, bullshit. Always they want something like, oh, you want that. So where come from the dictating of a product, a marketing for what? Because it's needed to say that, they have to be driven by, oh, don't change the production system. No. Keep it like this because profit get 1% more. Are you agree with 5.5 billion more this year? Yes. And the future generation? What we are gonna leave to our future generation? We are not inventing anymore. We are redefining normal things. While other countries like China, they say like, no, let's copy Olivero's system, and they do it. They bring inside the knowledge. They grow engineer. They ask them to take risks and fail. Do we a project? Porsche use 2,000 pieces for one cooling system. Do it with 3 pieces, please. Maybe this year it cannot achieve. Very difficult. But in 5 years, a good engineer can drive you to give a liquid system with 5 pieces, cost half of it, and imagine who is the supplier, the OEM, the corporate. So, the patent, the knowledge, it's in-house. This is the richness that then can make the company, the system, and systematic now I get it. But this is a culture, and I have this feeling. But alone we cannot do nothing. We have to establish a new culture, and this is the topic to me.
I love your passion. Please.
Can I say something? Because I copy what you say, and now I'm talking as professor and leading two masters and bachelor. It's all about creating the culture from bottom up. So talking as a professor, in my opinion, it's really important to work really early. And because we have a problem today that is, my opinion, social media that gives you a kind of fast reward. You can do some sketches, put it there, you get hundreds of likes, and you feel like, we say in Italian, arrived. You're done, you're a great professional. And having this kind of pace, this kind of fast reward, it's killing the culture.
Yeah.
And I have to say, when I was in my 20s, of course I was competing with people like Davide, because we were trying to find out our spot under the spotlight, of course. But now that so many things are changing in my life, I grown up, fortunately, I'm feeling that what you said before, we have to give back really early, in a very fast pace, to very young generation, from one side for hope, giving hope. Because when we started working, was 2009, Turin was a dead city. I remember I started working, having a dream, and then it happened, there is a crisis. Here in Turin they say, Fiat closed the faucet, closed the flow of cash. And I felt like having dreams that were destroyed. But I was happy to meet up people that were kind of supporting me and fueling my passion. I did a lot of errors, I'm really happy what I did, but we should be really fast in a very bottom area, bottom up, in order to give from very young generation. I have a son, he's 6 years old. I'm trying my best to make him confident and believing in something, because otherwise Italy or Turin would be very complicated, the situation.
Yeah, of course.
I got emotional
Because you're still reacting. If you want to change the world, you have to blend it. And doesn't matter how crazy it is. I'm gonna send the shuttle on Mars. Elon is not stupid. He's a dreamer. And even if he's shooting for Mars, he's gonna land on Moon or wherever it is. It's already 25,000 kilometers, whatever it is, much further than what we do today. NASA was looking at him and saying, he did it. Oh, he's using the same rocket. And everybody's looking like, oh, he was crazy. No, he's not crazy. He's just programming it and believing it. And then doesn't matter if you're failing. Without failure, what you can achieve? Tell me. It's impossible. You take somebody that doesn't cook. Give me a carbonara. What do you believe that expect on first dish? After 100 dishes, maybe it's decent. But after 100 years, maybe it's the best in the world. And this is the culture that we were saying. If we're still reacting, we can have the best professor, the best, yes. And then the application where?
Thank you so much. So, we come with a proposition, let's say. We propose to you as a first audience something that we are working on at academia, on the company, with the municipality, to bring to Turin something new, some like shot on the moon. So we would like to propose something that the autonomous driving is needing, because of the car that will move by their own, thanks to AI, thanks to autonomous driving. They cannot do that if they don't have the information, if they don't have the map. Okay? So, what do you think? What if we started thinking? I don't remember if we were in San Francisco or where we were, but what if the digital twin of the city is now not an asset of the town? Turin do not hold the digital twin of his own street, right? For example, Tesla, all the Tesla cars moving in the city, all around the world, is taking a look to the city, the street. and learning, creating a giant database. BYD is doing the same. So, what's the difference between America, for example Tesla, or China? We think that with the professor of comparative law, and we are right to define, well, some shit is gonna happen here if we don't move and say something and do something. And what's the architecture, what's the proposal, why we should do that? And especially, we can bring back a new model, a proposal that Europe can propose to the world, bringing back a special type of contracts we were using in the Middle Age that is called emphiteusi. You know, emphiteusi is a specific type of contracts in which the ownership is still yours, but I have the ability to use your assets, and I have to pay you for the ability to use your assets, and not only, I have the obligation to give it back to you better than when you give it to me to use it. So it's not an approach of extraction to create aridity, to create, poverty. It's an approach of slow finance, of generativeness, right? And how we can apply that to the architectures of the future city and of the future car industry of autonomous driving as a mobility, maybe an airplane, maybe a car, maybe a motorbike, whatever. So this is the proposal. This is like, whoever wanted to start to say something about it, please, let's go.
I would like to share something, even because I'm a car designer, so I'm used to say that I can be good in some areas, but I'm not a technician, I'm not in engineering. But as David was saying, that it's all starts with a dream. And if I'm thinking about, as a designer, that I get really passionate, if we think about the city that can be open sourced, so everybody of us can access to the data to understand the traffic flow, to understand the pain points, to understand the opportunities, as Arduino, everybody could improve it, or at least can propose a kind of new idea. So let's say my dream is to give access, to open up these opportunities to all of us. Here, I know for sure it's full of really talented people, and if we start analyzing, for example, Turin and the problem, we get data, we get a full 3D of the city, because Tesla, as BYD, is literally scanning continuously, and they know everything about our habits, the habits of the traffic, where I do park. It's amazing. My car, it's old. It's already 4 years old. I get in the car and it pops the address of my job. Or he knows on Sunday I go into my in-laws. So let's imagine this in 10 years. There will be no secret. So in conclusion, my idea...
There are also geopolitical issues, right?
Yeah, I know. There is the privacy, there is the fact that I'm really Piedmontese, I don't know anybody to know what I do, so there are a lot of aspects. I know it, but as a designer, kind of eagle-eye view, from a macro point of view, the fact is, what if we open up some aspects of the city, we give power to the people, we can analyze, we can propose idea. Maybe the idea, there is a list where people can vote it, can like it, in order to improve it. So, in conclusion is, my dream is, what if we apply a real democracy in the city where all of us, based on the knowledge, interests and talents, can participate. This, as a professor and as a designer, it would be something that make me feel, get up 5 a.m. in the morning because I want to rush analyzing, designing and talking with my pal in order to bring some values. Stop. Yeah,
it's really nice that you talk about democracy, because this thing already happened almost 3-4 times in the history, and every time was a kind of an empire. Okay, so like with the Roman Empire, the first censimento to have money from the people. The second time with Napoleon, with the French Empire. Then Google, because it's an empire at the end, it's a digital empire. And now we are there. Maybe it will be the right time, but not to look from an empire vision, maybe, but from the other side, from the people side. And this thing already happened in Far East. It happened in Japan. And Japan nowadays, that is a kind of democracy. Yeah, I think so. Terror is still there, but kind of. And but they scan all the city. The city is open, or not all the country, and the country is open. They use for insurance, mobility, policy, and whatever.
Who own the assets? Who own the server, the database?
The thing is like is owned by the city, so it's owned by the government.
Okay.
But everybody can apply for improvement, as you said. That is the thing also. So give back your experience to the city, not just use it and throw it. But the experiment that we had here in Europe, but also in the US, is totally the opposite. So we are creating not only digital lakes, but gardens. So BYD, Tesla, they are building their gardens.
Wait a minute, what means gardens against digital lake? Because I know...
Okay, lake they don't have, they spawn, I don't know how to say in English.
It's not closed.
It's not closed.
It's not closed.
Gardens, they have huge borders, huge walls. So you cannot step inside. It's really confined. That is my topic. So BYD and Tesla, they are not sharing data. So they are replicating data, they have their own data. And I own a Toyota, for example, Toyota, BMW, they have their own gardens. But where I live, in Cuneo, there are not so many new Toyota Prius. So I don't have any information about the traffic, nothing about the weather. So what is the future if I don't have access to these gardens? So I don't have freedom to move, maybe. So I'm losing also the freedom because mobility for me is moving from point A to point B. So is a lack of freedom, I think.
Yeah. Sorry, I let you talk. What I want to say is we go back to the Olivetti system.
Yes.
We open up these borders, these walls, in order to give access to anybody. Because maybe even in your town, that you think that nobody else has a kind of technology like you have, but maybe Federico, that is the village next to yours, can have the same passion and opportunities. But if we live as individuals, it's all the same shit. Sorry, I told it. Anyway,
I think it's a community topic. Yes.
It all has to change. It's a matter of consciousness. Now we're getting maybe too complicated.
No, it's totally right. So when we talk about Arduino was an enabler of a community. So here we are there. So we know where we want to go, but we're looking for an enabler. So what is the spark? The next part. So that is a question for you.
So I would say there's an aspect of maybe going back to fast and slow, right?
Thank you.
And the lens is exactly what you mentioned. So there's the slow mapping on a urban level of a city, then like a region, an entire province, a region, a nation. I think it's just the slowness there, like something we're not going to change immediately. But I think it's just as fast behaviors that happen, so we can map that behavior. I think it's just who owns that, right? Like that's that. So I think that goes into, we can go into regions of the world and how this is mapped. We don't have enough time tonight to do that, so we can maybe skip that part and go to an element of, if you say about the metaphor of lakes, so data lakes or data private gardens, I think it's just for sure we go. Dario was mentioning about the fact that I can contribute, all of us in this room can actually contribute to that data lake because it's open, we can go to that lake. Okay, so what happens in the case? I think it's just exactly, but what we don't see is just that autonomous vehicles for all entities, so I think just a taxi or even an autonomous bus or small vehicles that deliver something to you maps everything, like you said. I think it's just also the unnoticed. I think that can be used later on for multiple purposes. So there's definitely a commercial reason for that. So maybe here we can transform that into a data lake. So the fast behavior is something that goes into the accessible data lake, but anonymized. can we do that with the technology provided?
Yeah.
And then we have that can allow the slow but necessary urban planning, because we know that this area, this happens multiple times, weather condition and other layers. That's an example of that.
We are creating a kind of digital commons, right? Because we completely lost the concept of commons in the digital space. We completely lost. We just say, no, we don't have commons in the digitals, but it's not right, it's not the correct approach. And we think that that can also bring money to the city, right? So give back, not only because if it's private property of a multinational company on the stock market that is leveraging and maximizing the profit as much as possible, they are bringing values from the town, from the low level, let's say, and bringing up to the shareholder interest. But it's not the ultimate approach. This is not the systemic approach. This is not, let's say, not about fairness, because the world, the life is not fair, but it's just stupid things. It's not smart, like it's not wise for the long term, because if we keep going on capital extraction, financialization, defiscalization, delocalization, I mean, we are creating a toxic approach, toxic system. And I started my research in slow finance thanks to Sergio Marchionne when he says something about the capital junk. You know, you remember when he defined the autonomous industry like a capital junk. What means capital junk? The people that just get drunk, and need even more capital, keep going on the need of the capital. It's like a monster that eats himself. So what we can do with our approach, with this kind of new vision of shut down the wall, because it's a barrier of entrance. And free speech if you want to add something. If not, I have other things to say, but please.
First of all, there are a lot of food for thoughts. So I'm a creative guy, I'm not an engineer. But I do understand that many things that have been said in these 30 minutes already let me think completely how to create a situation of disruptiveness if exists in this world. Because I always love when I talk with my team, okay, to come back to the origin. Because even this discussion that we are doing right now is come from our heritage, where we are born, what we eat, and the culture again. But if you come back to the real origin, right? Let's say that we are primitive, right? You have to eat, right? Everybody has to eat. And if a dinosaur, whatever it is, it's 3 floor tall, definitely alone I cannot kill that animal, right? And the spirit of, go through the life and be alive or survive, whatever it is, was a need. And this need was bringing human being to react all together. Let's find a way. But the problem is that today there is money and there is geopolitical problem. And this is driving me to think that the human being is the issue. So we are the issue. We are the only existing life on earth that is killing humans for profit by creating food that is not healthy or whatever it is. This is the point where, coming back to this point, we should really get back to what is the needs, and then globally the world have to say we have to do something better. And then you discover that maybe, I don't know, inventing numbers, 65% of the United States, the north one, it's empty. Okay, let's make it solar panel for the world, not for a person. A Bezos or Elon, or choose one. And then again, data. I don't care how many data they have. They can even know exactly when I make love with my wife. I don't care. You care? I don't care. Unless they're using this data to make the life for everybody in a good way. And then why I have to be shy, why I have to cover these things? Only if you have to use this data in a wrong way, Then means that protecting, like in the medieval, right? The king knows, and then keep stupid the people, because you have to control. And this is also a part of my life where I come back on a really strong emotion. And the emotion is, I don't want that everybody has access to 100% full knowledge. Because the ones that they have, if there is good people, maybe they use it right. If it's bad people, it's bad. But what happens if the mass have the access to control true or false information, data, or manipulate data? Guys, the influencer stuff. Doesn't matter how much you study, I don't know, to become a surgeon for art, but there is an influencer that is not even at the first year of medicine university, can make 9 million of followers and say that is wrong. The approach of, and then what happened now? Data again. So on this topic, and again, I don't want to be political, but if we want to be really proactive, as you say, we should think about, okay, let's don't think about Turing, let's don't think about Italy, let's think about what is the need of the world, how we can make it better. So Japanese are good on one thing, share it. US people is good on making work, no, it's a joke. But is that let's find out what is their system. It's fast growing wherever it is. Italian on. If we put it together in a system where you have to save your life, like COVID time, and then you can imagine that maybe not in 100 years, but in 1 year, we can found not a solution, because it's impossible, but we found a path to say, okay, this is the initial algorithm of a culture to fixing thing. And then we are gonna not see this result. Not even my daughter, unfortunately, but maybe the daughter of my daughter is in 30 years. We are 100 steps ahead and really close. And maybe we have 500 years of evolution that driving us to make what we do. We cannot say tomorrow, but we are gonna say in the future. But if we don't think, that data, is owned by somebody that won't make profit, if you don't remove that, why have to share it? And then we are just reacting again on our needs, autonomous, but who says that again? Maybe we need it, but we have to change the system of a city. So then I come back to the initial, let's be proactive. Let's say that when you are living in Turin, take this example as a city, in the city center we divide in ring 1, 2, 3 like Beijing, there is ring. On the first ring, all the car controlled by billions of Starlink, whatever you choose one, okay? The car can go at 30 miles per hour. You don't drive it, it's full autonomous. And then because there is data, you have to say like, I have to go to IAAD University to teach, okay? The car drive alone and then park. There is safety regulation, zero. Zero, it's impossible. If there is a crash at 30 kilometers per hour, it's almost less worse than going on a bike in the Valentino Park. And then the urbanization changed completely. You don't need heavy car, you don't need many things, so electric car can be makes much more range. You can start to have only sharing vehicle, and maybe the sharing vehicle go underground. Okay, the underground for geology we cannot hear. Let's make an elevation. It's not an elevation, it's ring outside. You change the urbanization, then it's fine. And then there is rich people. Oh, I want my 911. And it's okay. I work with this guy. They want to get in London with the biggest V6, V16 existing on Earth. They can. But in the city, there is a restriction where you can go 30 miles per hour. And then when you go to Lange, there is a specific road where you can try to take the risk to go 300. But then it's changing the culture, the approach. And then the government can just follow what is the brilliant idea of engineer, sociologist, blah, blah, blah. So for conclusion is, again, is the origin. The world wants to do that? No. Let's try to make the forces together, and then the data doesn't matter anymore. Who is taken to me. The problem is like, let's fixing a common goal. Which is the common goal of humanity today? If you're talking about CXO, make 5% profit this year. And then 5 years later, then when I get billionaire, one person has 300 billion, he can basically pay all the debt for the entire Europe, and is all in one single bank account. already this is the problem, it's not the data. So it's the volunteer to say like, okay, come on, be Olivetti, be a person that, if you find a way to cure the cancer, do you want to really make money? Because you believe that you say to the world, I can, solve this issue, you are not billionaire, you become billionaire for sure. And the society will let you eat in the restaurant for free, you never pay nothing. But everyone gains something. You know what I mean? So I don't know if it's to dream inside, probably yes. But practical, maybe you can...
No? Okay. So I was in Colenso with Carlo Petrini at the first, the founder of Slow Food, for who don't know, at the first dialogues of Colenso. It's a kind of World Economic Forum, but specific vertical on sustainability, on ecology. And when we say ecology, we don't mean tree, green, grass. When we say ecology, we mean the science that study the impact, the outcome, the externality, good and bad, of what we do. Okay? In the same days, actually in the same hour, Matteo were with Mario Draghi talking about something fast, let's say, talking about sustainability and evolution of mobility, let's say. So please tell me something about that.
I will tell something cruel about today, for example. A newcomer, a new OEM visit us, and he said, he said, don't make if you can buy it.
Don't make if you can buy it.
Don't make if you can buy it. So all the industries is thinking on this way. So is a two speed, is super fast speed and slow speed. When I had my own startup in China, it was really difficult for the people inside the company also to understand this two speed inside the company, because one thing it was made for the market, one thing was made for investors. But it's totally different. It also from outside it was really difficult to understand us. And so when you work for fast things, are things that you have to make revenue maybe in months, okay? And Tianming, that is my tech lead in autonomous driving, it's AI. And I'm trying to work on the stress part, so this fast thing, to find the money for the people of my team to develop things. Because I think if we think always in this, don't make if you can buy it, okay, we lose it. So we have to, okay, if you don't make it, don't do it. That's it. That is also my suggestion to many startups. We are in the tech week, and I think there are many people from startup world. So when I talk with some of them, they ask for suggestion to Matteo and they ask, okay, I have this idea to make an autonomous vehicles and so on. Okay, you have 10 million? No, okay, that's it. Ciao. It's fine. It's fine too. So find another solution, or find another problem, another topic into that, because we need to survive and find the equilibrium between these two sets of ourselves, because it's also about present and future. So the first word is just the present, but it's an event of the present, so it's really now. But many, like also in other culture, they don't have also verb for super future. Okay, we have it, but for example in Chinese they don't have super future verb. They have like just a future proximity, just that. Okay, so maybe it's also, as you said, it's about culture. So we lost a bit the hope in the future, so we're living just using present. Okay. Also, if you talk with AI, you see the AI, ChatGPT, Gemini, they are writing just in the present sentence, and they don't think about the passato prossimo or futuro prossimo, whatever. It's really difficult. So we need really to rethink about this balance between fast and slow in ourselves, in the company where we're living, and the team that we are leading. Because I think, like all of us, we are working with a lot of people, young generation, and we need to teach them how to survive. Because many, when I went to Umeo in 1 year ago, many not kids but students, they asked to me, okay, so what is our future? But not for my topic, but they are afraid about the future, okay? Because they see the future that is going too fast, that they are not able to recognize it, and they are not able to think in a super long-term vision. And the topic of today that is about autonomous driving for many people is something, an hype, okay? Al and I, we lived already 3 waves of this autonomous era, and for us it's an era. So it's a question of point of view at the end. So I think we share, 4 of us, different point of views on the technology.
I mean, also to summarize, like what happened said, like there's a strong emotional lens when you're talking about the hope that is important to bring maybe from design education and the lenses that Matteo was mentioning. So how the relationship between fast and slow is something that we can bring into the design education, but also in the overlapping of what you were mentioning, the lack most of the time of in design education of policies, like, and they're also affecting us on a long terms, super slow thinking, and a very fast approach, and the everyday and the investors and the differences. Why do investors do not think that way, right? Like, and because that's also something. How can we change it? But also bringing the closeness that I have also a few dear friends here in the room. Like we always discuss the connection between design and business, and the thing is just they're so far away in the way they're taught in normally design education, and then maybe something out of this conversation that we can bring it together, bringing the fast and slowness together.
If may I, as a adaptive leadership trainer of the Olivier Leadership Institute, we went to Harvard University and fell in love with this approach of adaptive leadership, and we bring back to Italy because that really give us the grammatical lexico, let's say, to explain what have done Adriano Olivetti, for example, but not only because it's not the only guys who has done something like that. And the main difference is define what is a technical problem and what is an adaptive challenge. Usually we made a mess, always. We bring all the problem as a problem. Completely not. When we talk about a technical problem, we should be much faster than we can to solve it. When we think about an adaptive challenge, we should go slow. When I say slow, I don't say slowly, like stupid guys or like, I don't know, people who is sleeping or chilling out. No. Slow values means look in the future, far away. Slow means go deeper in the quality of the thought. Think to others, think to the supply chain. And when we bring some innovation, like autonomous driving, like AI, like the cars, like the airplane, whatever, every product of innovation, the product bring to us 2 enormous things. One is the supply chain inequality of the people involved in the production phase, and the second is the social impact to the people that is using that kind of technology. And that 2 different type of inequality is also involved in the difference, in the inequality of people who gain money and who has to spend to use it. Don't think that Elon Musk have to pay to use the car, because he's always trying to get it better, the car, for example. And I want to underline, I love capital. I don't think Karl Marx and communism is right. I think communism is wrong, completely wrong. First of all, the book of Capital has never been finished. So we are like, what are we doing? We are talking about a book never finished, translate from Japanese, Germany, English to Chinese, and then publish just the manifesto, but not the whole book. So it's just a big mess. And especially, the capital is not single things. It's not just money. We are a chest of capitals. We have a relational capital. We have a personal branding, a reputational capital. We have affectionate. We have sentiment. I mean, the life has a different type of shadow, different type of degree of what it's worth, what is the meaning, what is the direction. So we cannot reduce it to a single type of capital and be against the capital. It's like completely craziness. But to the opposite, John Maynard Keynes, for example, is another thing that is completely wrong. We cannot grow forever as much as we can. It's stupid. It's completely capital extraction to whatever. We have to give it back, of course, but we have to, I think, bring together lawyers and designers for a systemic design to arrive and to enrich the procurement of how the society, how the architecture of the society could work. So please, somebody who wants to say, maybe Ale, don't us. Sorry? From the public, if you have some answers, some questions. We still have 20 minutes, more or less.
I do have a question.
Yeah, please. Can I give you the microphone?
Sorry about my voice today.
It's good.
It's good to listen to your point of view in this beautiful location, by the way. This is my first time. I'm not a car designer. I've been working for small projects with big brands like Honda to come back in my life in Tokyo and Hong Kong, but now I'm back in Torino. I'm not a car designer, so I hope you like my question. So in the last 5-10 years, I saw more companies than before, technology company and mobile phone company going and start building cars, more than car manufacturers starting building phones.
Okay.
I mean, I don't have the latest DM phone in my pocket. So I want to understand, going back to the system thinking, if those companies that knows everything about mobile and communication are in a better position to understand this system holistically instead of like a car company that maybe just focus on car. Like, I'm just guessing because I'm not a car designer.
Can I really say something? You know, company like a friend of us is working as chief design automotive officer in Huawei in Milan. And you know, Huawei was born in 1982, more or less, and today is it's an empire. It's a tech company, communication company. Long story short is the fact that the tech company, communication company, they were looking for a solution to implement the business using the same technology, using the same shit, literally. Where to? Cars. And they saw it 15, 20 years ago. While here in Turin we were still looking for the best balance in terms of styling and trying to do the panda, more panda, less panda. In China or in the States, they were already thinking, what if I put my SIM card on the car and I start extracting, collecting data in order to sell digital services? Nobody saw, at least here in Europe, in the old continent, that you could even upsell digital services. So it was just, based on my experience, it was just strategy. I don't think that Huawei in 1982 was thinking about, let me start doing some antennas and SIM cards and phone, and then we will be tackling the automotive field. No, arrived later, because, you know, before, today we are talking about autonomous driving. 20 years ago, everybody was talking about IoT, Internet of the Things. So, in the end of the day, we're talking about Internet of the Things on board. And they saw it 20 years ago, and they built up a business.
I mean, thank you for the provocation, for sure. One thing is just to build on what you said and to answer to the question or provocation, that was that the advent of electric vehicle allowed like new players, right, like to enter the market. So the thing is just the simplification of the production line from combustion engine to electric vehicle is something that allowed players like that really their expertise is in the technological end, so building dedicated microchips that allow, for example, computer vision and movement. They really are the base for autonomous driving, but also in general to everything, all the services that people experience in their vehicles. So that is the threshold that before that was impossible to. So the other way around, good provocation, it's really hard for maybe Volvo to build a phone because it will need to go and retrofit completely the production line to something small, minute, but also the microprocessor part they will have zero control of. So the idea is just, yes, this is the data layer, but also the architecture of building microchips, so the intelligence. And that's something that Huawei, you just mentioned, for example, in the case they have an operating system, it's the first thing that they did, which is called Harmony OS. Okay? We're not related to Huawei, but just mentioning that's one of the many companies that the first thing they built, rather than a product, they built an operating system. That operating system is actually the base for the majority of other Chinese brands. So the first thing that Huawei did is just, from building antennas like Dario was mentioning, they start building operating system. One layer is like the equivalent of Google did for Google TVs and Android, or Apple as well. The thing is just, these are technological companies, so that layer is a data layer. It's exactly what we mentioned today. So how and which way we can bring it back? Okay, that's the next question.
Many times to the students, I spend some words on an example from Italy, like pasta and pizza as a carbo guys, okay? And if you think, what is our type of food, okay? Pizza is a carbo, or pasta, when we put pomodoro, mozzarella, basilico, we create topping, okay, on a platform. So this platform thinking is something that is a super long-term strategy, because when we worked together with Samsung almost 15 years ago, they planned cars, so it is still there. So everything is already on their plan that are 20, 30 years in the future. But everything is based on a platform thinking, but for them is the beginning. And that is something that also as a community, maybe we need to create. So we need to create something where we can build on top of it. You work on Arduino, was the same topic. Nowadays we are thinking to create, also with Matteo, we are trying to push the city, okay? To use this digital twin as a platform to enable services, to enable activities on top.
You want to say something? No? Okay, so two last things, please. The first, I forget. I'm joking, sorry. So, I will ask to everybody of you, why should be important to create the digital commons of the digital twin of the city, owned by the city downtown? Why? And do you think it's a good idea or not? So why? Short answer, yeah. So yes, it's a good idea, no it's not, and the reason why is this. Please.
I think yes. Have to be built based on a strong culture, love and sharing for the next human being. Another way, the answer is no. Let's come back to normal situation where, Italy is good in doing that, and then we come back, but economics doesn't allow us. But if it's good in the proposition, definitely yes.
So far we haven't made any choices on that, so it's the first time that we have moments like this in the last decade that we actually talk about this. So the answer goes in direction, it's a necessity, so it's definitely a yes. But I think is how the yes can be expanded to your question to Otherwise, what are the consequences? And I think we live in them today. I think that we're both like Dave and Dario also mentioned them multiple times, or on an emotional level, or also on a practical level for all of us. So I think it's just it's a big fat yes for sure. The thing is just how do we do that? That is also yes. I think I agree on bringing the democratic lens, but also bring like the experts as well. So how do we have both sides? That's the verticality. Most of the time we forget the lens. Okay, how do we bring the actual experts in the room? Like, and they make those decisions based on the actual data.
I think the answer is coming also from we are the same age so far, so we are the globalization generation. So I remember when we were in the elementary school, primary school, and we design things from Benetton, all the generation, all together, everything Unite colors. Remember, we were like maybe 6, 7 years old, something like that. But if I ask to my wife, that she is almost 7 years younger than me, so almost 10 years younger than me, for her, it's normal to see the world that is divided, okay? The world that is private islands everywhere, these things. So I think is on us to bring back this type of democracy, republic thinking to our companies, to the cities where we are living. So it's our responsibilities because of the generation that they are nowadays, like maybe 10 years old or 20 years old. They never experienced these things that we experienced in the past. So we are also the Euro generation. So we'll see Europe for the first time. We'll see internet for the first time. So for us, it's something normal to see some event that is bringing everybody in the same room, everybody with this common bond. Okay? So I think the answer is yes, and we need to work with our teams also inside our daily life to make that happen.
So in these days of the Italian Tech Week, we will have in Turin also Ursula von der Leyen, I guess you know, and we will discuss with her also the possibility to create a 28 state of Europe, let's say. So, you know, we are 27 states in Europe, and I guess, if I'm not wrong, legal states at least. And so we are thinking, we are pushing to try to figure out if it's possible to create a 28th legal state in order to put the legal entity of a multinational company just in the European legal state, able to operate in all states of Europe. That's amazing, that's good. But maybe it's better at the same time to bring the slow capitals in the meaning of the city, the downtown, the city of all Europe, to bring to the 28th state of Europe the ownership of the digital commons, of the digital twin of the city, and by procurement, by law, like the GDPR, the legislation obligation to oblige Tesla, BYD, and whatever car company to connect to the ownership data of Europe, to ask permission to use it, but never own it, and using it to give it back also better for the commons good of the competitor also, and to bring, let's say, not possible, but to help new competitor to get into the market, because if not, that would be impossible to create competition on the private property data lake of the digital twin of the company and so on. So on this, let's say, slide, last slide, what do you think? And what could be the future of it? In the next 10 years we will have cars or Archer, flying cars and so on. So how the connection of the vehicle will change and reshape the design.
Not only economical but also geopolitical. And then that the new generation knows that the life is also without digitalization and so on. It's not just about the phone. But for example, you know, I remember this summer with my daughter, you know, I asked a person, even if I have the phone in the pocket, sorry, where is the square, Victoria Square? And she looked at me like, are you talking with people to ask Google? She's 3 years old. She told me straight, ask Google. And I say, no, I want just talk with local and make friendship. So maybe the human touch to enjoy the journey on this digitalization path, you know, maybe it's gonna help to remember to the new generation that there is something more and don't lose this feeling of, you know, the real life at the end. I don't know if my comment is positive, but I stick to the emotional thing. We are human guys. So everything is digital to me, and too much probably. But we have to, you know, survive on that also.
Let's say, as we are about time, I will leave Dario to close this.
Me? Well, I need a little background because I'm sorry, I had to go to the toilet.
Oh, yeah, come on, Matteo.
Talk about humans.
No, we're not talking about humans. I ask a specific topic. I mean, the 28th state of Europe, give to the 28th state of Europe all the digital twin of the city, putting the ownership of it and get money from it.
No, I can say something. Do you remember, guys, when it happened that we got the free roaming in Europe? That was a great benefit. It's still a great benefit today. We can travel in Europe without paying a lot of money for using few minutes. And it happened because there was, how to say in English, a group of a class action. There was a class action in Europe that people, again, bottom up, people decided, fuck it, I don't want to pay Vodafone for something that it's already free. You are just charging something more. So, as you said before, I'm not a great guy in politics, but we're not talking about being communist or not there. But if we understand that we have a voice, that we can get together, that we can have an impact, and we can teach it to our son and daughter, I think that we can open up the city to be open source, to give ideas, because it's a matter, again, of culture that belongs to us, and we can rent it or borrow it to big corporation in order to run something that at the end of the day will have a kind of impact. I know that it sounds a little bit utopia, but we have to start from something. Otherwise, you know, honestly, personally, I understood pretty young, at a pretty young age, that I could have an impact. Well, I'm not saving life daily, I'm not a doctor, but I really stand up for my rights, or for something that I really wanted different. Before I decided to open up my studio when I was 25. That was hard and complicated, and I was struggling, but the power that gave me that idea is still stimulating me today, that I'm 41. So what I want to say is that the fact that, as David was saying, I don't care, I care about getting back what it belongs to us already. So yes, let's open up the system, it's a yes for me. We need policy, we need protocol, we need safety for sure. But if this brings back the value to us, not only in terms of money, but in terms of having a voice, feeling part of the community, feeling the fact that I have a need, I can address it to a person or a platform. So to me, it's a yes. Vote yes.
And the last question was about the future. It was about the future, and if you see eVTOLs in the near future of autonomous driving.
Not in short time, in territory like Europe.
This is a straight answer.
It's a matter of adaptation. It's like an electric car.
It is also about resiliency. So if you look, the villa where we are nowadays is from the 20s, I think, so almost 100 years ago. And we are anomaly, just anomalies in this system. So we see the screen, but maybe 100 years ago it was something futuristic. Other things like maybe my watch, the speakers, the light, that's it. We finish. So we see few anomalies, maybe our style, but maybe even not that much. Okay, no, I didn't come to you. no, not very much. So I think the future, if we think 20, 30, 40, maybe 50, we see just anomalies in this near future. Maybe we will see maybe an emitter passing there, and we see maybe some robotaxi just waiting there. So some things here and there. But the future is not like a disruption, okay? It's an adaptation to the present.
Thank you so much. Dave, sorry. Well, we are working with Maurizio Ferraris, with Scienza Nuova Institute for the welfare project to the slow capitals working team with PG Pier Giorgio Monateri, with a lot of other professor, researcher, and of course with Matteo Barale, with IAAD, with the municipality. So it's not anymore the time of launch a proposal and say, okay, I went to the stage, I've saved something smart, saved pictures. No, it's the time to get to reality. What we want to propose, what we stand for, what we believe in. So it's a kind of declaration, let's say, but it's also a call for not ideas, but for support to join the movement. In 2018, we started the Circle of Innovation, celebrating the heritage of Sergio Marchionne. In 14 September, we celebrate for his funeral, let's say, starting the Circle of Innovation. And after some years now, I bring my stuff and I went to live in the Langhe in Costiglio d'Asti and go back to the heritage of the family producing wine, because I really fall in love about the slow food movement, but bringing together with the fast and clean approach. So bring from one side the Alessandro Baricco, Scuola Holden, Barbary, thinking about the twin of reality and digital health, art. From the opposite side, of course, I love and I fall in love to be an ex-or shareholder and to study, to learn, to understand how it's possible to scale up and don't do the wrong things that Adriano Olivetti has done, because now it's not anymore here. They bankrupt. They sold for $1 the computer to IBM because they invent the personal computer and then they give, because they don't understand the future wave that we're going to come. So I think really Turing can have in his geographical position, historical position, the chance and the responsibility to make a synthesis of Chinese proposal, of American proposal, of all around the world, and bring together a synthesis of design, of innovation, of, like you say, go back to the root and build it back again from the scratch, proposing a hope, bright future, but combining the complexity, the dystopic things, the things that at the first point, like Oscar Farinetti always say, like combining the dichotomy, bringing together it. So next time I hope to have more law also to bring together in the joining team, and if the public has some questions, of course we can catch one question more, because then we will move to another session panel, always talking about slow and fast, but not apply to design, to mobility, but apply to venture capital, to a style, a possible approach to venture capital. So if you have any question, please. Yep. What's your name? Where you come from, please?
I'm Fahim, I'm from India. I just had a question regarding the duality of nature and as to where we live right now. The thing is, we have aspirations, dreams, passions, ideas, and everything, but we also live in a system that we have to live in the system that we are in. It may limit us, or we may not have as much freedom as to do what we want. We're limited by finances, geopolitics, and things like that. So how do you say that we can disrupt or ideate or innovate and break through this fundamental wall, while at the same time trying to sustain within the system that we live in? At the end of the day, we need to get paid to live off sustenance. So how do you say we balance this? How do you think we play this balancing act? Maybe one example that I can think of at the top of my head is that in the US, we have these home appliances.
So thank you, Adam, and I give the voice for Dave.
For sure. No, it's okay. I don't take the answer, but I think that it's connected to the fast and slow pace. The issue is that what you are saying and what we are saying, there will be always different type of problems. Now we are having problems of not wearing the latest shoes or whatever it is, and in the past there was World War. I don't know what you choose. I think that this is a different type of pain, but all generations have struggled for different points. The primitive, they could die at 35 or 25 because they were eating raw food and animals and, I don't know, getting infected by plants. So today we are extending the lifetime at 85, but now we are killing with the wrong food. We are struggling, and the complexity is so big that I'm not an expert on everything. I'm just a designer. But to me, is how we are capable to adapt, to reasonable target and achievement. And this is wrong in our personal life, and also in the company, and also in society. This is the big issue, if we want to wrap up in fast and slow, because people that is leading finance want their return of investment even before the product is even started to be kicked off. And then they are surprised that there is 15% wrong assumption. Assumption of what? I didn't even speak with the supplier. And the supplier told me, I can do that, but in 3 years. Oh, I calculate 1 year. And in Excel file, the green cell is green. Oh, come on. You are just a 6-0. In 5 people, you want to believe that you are, this is the reason why also personal challenges. I want to lose weight. I know that for losing 40 kilos, I cannot do it in 3 months. I lost 23 in 4. And this is an amazing achievement maybe, but it's achievable in terms of target. What the society have to start to give us is achievable targets. And when you have your own kids, give him achievable targets. Because another way, if you follow trends or the society needs or impulse, it's like the investor, ROI tomorrow. And then a kid that is 15 years old says, I don't want to study, I don't want to make effort to learn a job, I want to be billionaire. How? YouTuber. It's okay, it's your choice. It's your choice, but it's achievable targets. What happens if the kids that want to be a football player, 1 on a million can do that, and then have a pay raise above 1 million? But actually, if you gain 100K per year gross salary, you are inside of 1% of the world. And that this is achievable target if you study and you understand in an early age, and this is our responsibility, to teach people, young people, to have a dream and consolidate an achievable target. Because with achievable target, you can stick to a plan. If you stick to a plan that is a global organization in society, then not me, not my son, but not the son of my son, the third generation can achieve the big target. Like, oh, pollution, result pollution, electrification, and then the people that spend, I don't know, like, I don't want to make name of company, they spend 55, 100 years of investment in consolidated supply chain that becomes almost mafia, sorry to say, because you have to give them back at least 30 years of work to have a return of investment significant. But the young generation that is leaving the company as a 25 years old, CXO, 100 million revenue every year, he wants 100 million time. So to me, the answer is giving you achievable target. You are a designer, you want to be a Ferrari designer. Just for example, it is achievable in 25, 30 years. If you accomplish in 10, it's okay. But then work hard to achieve that. And then say, like a business plan, what I did this year? Oh, I didn't make any relevant change in my life. I'm still sketching like last year. Then you have to design more, sketch more. Yeah, but I'm working too. We have to pay the bill. Then change the target. Then the target is not Ferrari. Somebody that has a gift, I didn't have a gift. Okay, Ferrari has a gift. And then it is what it is. But then why you have to pursue to become Flavio if you cannot, for example? So then achievable target is my answer.
Thank you so much. This is all really inspiring. If this is your daily life, please make me a part of it. I'm always on the lookout to connect to innovators and thinkers in the city. Dave, I want to go back to you because I was about to leave this room knowing you as the guy who invited us to be the new Elon Musks and dream big and dream of ourselves on Mars. And now, hearing you talk about achievable targets, the obvious question would be, can you help me, sort of draw a link between that kind of ambition and achievable targets? Then I'm part of the school who is trying to put objectives and achievable ones, especially in the trash, because I think greatness comes from doing things for the love of them and for the sake of them. Not necessarily following a blueprint of achievable targets year on year. So first question is how do we sort of bridge between wanting our missiles, or not missiles, they are shuttles, whatever they are, yeah, there are rockets. We want them on Mars, and how do we link into achievable targets? Second question, very short, I promise. I think here, oh no, I lost it, so we'll have to leave it for when we get a drink. So over to you.
I'm leaving, I'm lucky first of all to be a chief design officer, so I'm not a design director only, but I'm in the business unit, and this is a big issue, because basically I become adult. And then I understood, and I know that I'm polite, but I'm a person that's speaking really honestly. I've been in startups, and I remember that we have to deliver a car in 9 months. It was crazy, from 0 to A class. Yeah, but there was a need to collect 3 billion in NEO in September. It was 4 months before. William Lee, a really innovator, because he wanted to change the life of his son in China. That's why Blue is coming. It's the new purpose, not just only the brand. It's like, I want to make a difference and impact into the city, so doing good things. And then I remember that he said, like, how we do it? And then we grouped together and then we struggled. So from that moment I learned that living in a startup is up and down. This is talking about fast. There is a need where the team has to grow fast, and then there is problem of human being. We are not machine, for example. And the first loop of startupping, you have clever people that is managing operators, CXO all together, entrepreneur. You believe that the company is yours. And then you have to dream, and then the achievable target is unachievable, like the blue is coming. So I changed the life of the overall Chinese people, right? Understanding. And then I was saying, yeah, but we are so far. I was panicking. And then I live in the stress. That's why I say we have to learn how to enjoy the journey. Because we have to admit that our life is so short that you cannot make any relevant changes, but you can initiate the domino effect, and you are just one part of a plan. And then this is the reason why, for example, in my team I say we have to design a car, stupid things, there's no need to save life. Like this guy wants a $25 million car. Okay, based on a platform that is not cost that much. So we have to build something strong for a design, the storytelling, technology, and then you start to work, right? He wants the golden compass, for sure, 100%. So the most achievable things for in design, right? This is unachievable because I don't know if I can get it. But I have to definitely give achievable target to the team, because another way, as we were saying, you don't even start. Okay, let's save life. I want to cure the cancer. I'm a doctor. The achievable target is I want to make a lecture that expand my culture not on one doctor but 100. These 100 I'm going to make the same and then becomes 1,000. In 10 years there will be 1 million doctor that is focusing on goals as passion to cure the cancer. And not for money, because research is strange. I pay much more than a researcher in cancer. This is wrong. I'm designing cars and I'm getting much more money than a doctor. It's wrong. This is another point. So to me, balancing these things is keeping 30% of a dreamer, an achievable target. I want to be the best designer if I don't want, but if this is relevant for a person, it's meaningful. And then the rest is like, okay, but next year I want to make a car that is remembered, or if for people it's really important, not for me, I want to be published in Forbes, whatever it is. Make affordable achievement, because another way, your program basically is always in the loop of startupping wrongly. Oh, I have a great idea, I need money, they give me money, I finish the money, then restart over. And no, and this is the moment where you have to, because there is ups and downs. When it's difficult, this is the moment where you make the difference. And this is another part of the brutal story of startup. You start with 5 people. These 5 people are perfect for the first peak. These 5 people have to have the energy to grow, mentally and culturally. 3 people survive, 2 people left. They get pissed, they fight for money, whatever it is. Then you know that you have to elevate your startup, you need 25 people. Scale up in a short term of 1 week from 3 people to 25. And the culture is completely different. They are not at your level of understanding of the culture. And this is the issue that I always say to my people. Maybe I'm developing and talking every day how to be innovative, but if I'm not sharing, the people, my team, is behind me 1 kilometer. And then when I say, guys, let's go there, and the people say, we don't understand nothing. What are you talking about? You were talking about golden compass, now you tell me engineers that can give you that section, use all section, and then the door is the same. I say, yes, of course, because that car has to be delivered in December. But it's the first step of a mentality as an inception to the engineer to say, if you still give me that, the car will be always the same. And there is no one that say, okay, I give you another solution, I make a patent. These for me are engineers. The other one are projectists, workers. Engineers are the one that say, I have a solution. If I change and the engine is on top of your head, how the car change? I would love to have this. Please give me that. And then maybe we discover that it's different. Maybe it's wrong for many reasons, but maybe I'm not an engineer, so I need these things. And then long-term plan is this car will be the worldwide car, people never die in the car, unachievable target today. Maybe it will become, but if you don't start the process of changing, how? So I balance those things by saying always, remember where I started. There was a lesson at IAAD that I have a quadro, a picture let's say, remember where you started. And then the other one that told me that nobody say to people that want to change something, creative people, how tough it is, and then everybody pass through this phase. Having doubt of yourself to say like, wow, I was looking for designing the best of the best, unachievable target, and then I'm reacting orders of people that even don't know who is the user of it. But this is the brutal reality that you have to fight with yourself to say, I'm stick to the plan. Maybe it will be not me, but I'll try to continue this culture. And then there is, of course, roles. And now I'm the boss in my team, and it's easy. But imagine if when I was junior designer, and I was knowing that that product that they were doing is like, guys, but that product is gonna cannibalize that. So I'm not allowed even to say it, because you're just a young guy, so why you have to say it? So I don't know.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And we are here in Turin, the social innovation, European social innovation capital. So we, thanks to Mario Calderini also, the Torino Social Impact is doing a very good job. So I think your inspiration, your thought will be very useful too. And I think we need also different type of venture capital. We don't need only to try to disrupt, to create a unicorn. I mean, we need it, but we don't need only that. Yes, we need incremental, and also with the slow venture capitals, we need to find the solution that the market is not interested in, because the revenues, the risk, whatever, we are helping a lot of projects in which we are not paid, because we don't want to be paid. We want to achieve the solution, to make an impact, to make the difference, and of course then make a lot of money for that. But we don't want to be motivated to get the money. We want to be motivated because we believe in to support it. And we think this kind of different shift in culture will help us to inspire all Europe and maybe to say something in the map of the world. So thank you so much. Thank you. In a few minutes we will start the next section.